I failed out of nursing school. I'm not even a nurse. And I have 6 other failed businesses. 3 of them were YouTube channels. And I'm like, YouTube doesn't work. One day in the shower, I'm like, what if I just started my 7th failed business? Just made 5 videos. I'm like, who knows? Maybe it could turn around and make 10 grand a month. I don't know. So I started with 5 videos, started getting thousands of views. And I'm like, what? And then so the first year, I always thought it was a fluke. I'm like, this is gonna go away. The first year we grossed 350,000. The second year we doubled that. And by like 18 months, we were already $1 million company.
Mike Linares, welcome to the It's Not That Deep podcast, brother.
What up, Big Daddy?
Thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for coming to the studio, coming to Miami. I know you've got a spot here, but it's cool that you're hopping around and you made some time to come make some content.
Yeah, it's great. So I just started working with you guys to launch our new company based on longevity. I'm super excited about that. I'm doing I know we talked about this, but 100 pills a day. Trying to copy Brian Johnson's blueprint. He's spending $2 million a year on his health. That was the founder of Venmo and Braintree. Dude, he exited for $800 million.
Oh my God.
And so now he's trying to reverse his age.
That's crazy. And look, we're going to dive into all of the biohacking and all the crazy protocols and what got you to here today. But I want to kind of start with, a little bit of a primer, get people, who don't know who you are already, a little bit of an introduction. Mike is, first of all, Mike's a man. Absolute bro. Love this guy. You founded Simple Nursing. Yeah. And I remember kind of the first call that we got on and you broke it down to me as this super basic thing where it's you were making the Netflix of nursing content. So that people who are learning nursing and are practicing to become a nurse can consume these modules quickly and learn more about nursing. Talk to me about how that even came about. Were you studying nursing? Was this something you needed? Yeah. Tell me the story of how you ended up there.
So it was an 8-year overnight success. So at 21, I read the book 4-Hour Workweek and by Tim Ferriss, which at the time was 2008. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. You can actually work online and travel the world. So after failing at 6 other businesses, they always say you got to learn before you earn. So one of the books was saying 9 out of every 10 business ideas will fail. And if you're not willing to fail 9 times, then just don't even get started. So I failed 6 times, was $8 grand in debt, right around 24-ish. And so I'm like, screw all this. I'm just going to go back into the medical field because at the time I was working on the ambulance and being a personal trainer. And I'm like, okay, at least I can go back into the hospital, work as a tech and make $10 an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm like, to make a paycheck actually feels so good when you're basically almost at zero in your bank account. And so then I'm looking at the nurses, never wanted to be a nurse, thought it was a female job, actually told guys never to be nurses. Okay. I would talk my male employees out of being nurses just because I was young, I didn't know shit. And so anyways, saw the nurses and what they did, that they were traveling and they did travel nursing contracts in Hawaii, Miami, Chicago. I'm like, what the fuck? So then I'm like, okay, maybe I can be a nurse. So I got into nursing school and I was teaching paramedic studies before I got into nursing school. And so when I got in, I thought nursing school was going to be a huge learning curve. But my first year I found out I'm like, dude, all we're doing, the first semester, you're walking people to the bathroom. And you're taking blood pressures when I'm used to teaching complex cardiac exams an EKGs. So I started getting lazy, slacking off, never really showing up on time, turning my shit in late all the time. And so I still have the record for the most write-ups in the first semester. I had 4 write-ups.
Damn, and the first semester,
yeah,
bro,
yeah.
That's more than a write-up a month.
And so nursing school, if you guys didn't know, is the military version of, it's like Bizarro World. So imagine a predominantly female-dominated community. It's really old in their ways. So they like to, I don't know why, but nurses love to bully younger nurses. And it's almost like hazing. And being a male that's confident, manly, and being the man, they don't like that. They want to grind you down into someone more I don't know, like a Greg Fokker type, I guess. So Everyone hated me. By third semester comes around, every instructor was like trying to figure out a way to get me out of the program. So I showed up late, and then I got kicked out of the program my third semester, failed out.
You got kicked out of nursing school.
Yeah, so I not only did I fail 6 businesses, 8 grand in debt, got kicked out of nursing school as well. And then I'm like, hey, why don't I become a YouTube personality and make millions of dollars?
Well, that's kind of worked out though, right?
That's not how it happened at all. So I'm like, my dean was really cool. She sat me down. She's like, Mike, you can probably teach these classes, but you just got to show me that you're serious. Like, just show up on time, go through the loops and hoops, and then just get out of my way. I'm like, okay. So she's like, you got to do a project to show me you're serious. So I used to teach fitness boot camps in the past. And so I'm like, well, what if I did like a 2-week boot camp for new students? Show them how to study, show them how to time manage and all this stuff. And so that's where it started. So it was during that mini boot camp, like workshop for these new students, I would basically break down complex topics. And then they're like, yo, put this on YouTube. And I'm like, dude, no one's gonna watch this shit on YouTube. I failed out of nursing school. I'm not even a nurse. And I have 6 other failed businesses. 3 of them were YouTube channels. And I'm like, no one's gonna, YouTube doesn't work. And I still remember like one day in the shower, I'm like thinking like, what if I just started my 7th failed business and just made 5 videos? I'm like, who knows? Maybe it could turn around and make 10 grand a month. I don't know. So I started with 5 videos, started getting thousands of views. And I'm like, what? Then it became 50 videos. Then it became 500 videos. So it was in the last semester, the last 6 months of my nursing school, where I quit my job, paying me a whopping $12 an hour in the ER. And I downloaded this really good PDF called How to Make 100 Grand in 12 Months Online by Craig Ballantyne. Amazing, just tutorial, just step-by-step how to do it. And so Craig Ballantyne was one of my mentors who eventually did a huge email blast about how I was one of his most successful students and got me on stage at one of his events. It was really cool. But anyways, long story short, in that last 6 months, I was like, worst case scenario, I'll be a nurse in 6 months, and then I'll just start working as a nurse. So I'm gonna dedicate every Friday. So I just started just pushing out content. I had a webcam for like $20 and a whiteboard from Walmart. And I didn't even have an eraser, I had a sock to erase the board. But by the end of 6 months, I was doing 100 videos a month, no editing, just uploading directly to YouTube. And what I didn't know at the time was that it was a perfect timing. And they always say like, talent and timing is like the best intersection to make shit happen. But also you just have to take action. So what I didn't know is that Google at the time was putting $10 million into education. They wanted YouTube to become the educational hub for the go-to place to get education. Yeah. So Khan Academy got $10 million from I think Bill Gates and YouTube just to basically just do a shit ton of content. So a lot of people...
I used to watch those videos in uni all the time, bro. Yeah. Khan Academy got me through a lot of classes.
But it was so simple.
Yeah.
And it was just like a bunch of like chicken scratch.
Yeah.
What? It was it wasn't anything. So that's when I started the videos, and people were like, "You like Khan Academy?" I'm like, "Who the fuck is Khan Academy?"
Yeah.
So by the time I was graduating, I was doing like 20 grand a month in gross revenue. And I was like thinking like, man, I'm actually making more than any of my professors. And they've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And then so the first year, I always thought it was a fluke. I'm like, this is gonna go away. The first year we grossed 350,000. The second year we doubled that, and by like 18 months we were already $1 million company.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
And where you're sitting today, over 900,000 subscribers. Right?
Yeah. So we are on YouTube. We're almost 1 million subscribers, 75 million views. And we don't really monetize that much on YouTube. I mean, YouTube does pay us $300,000 a year, but the way we get most of our money is that we just made a subscription model, like Netflix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So people, let's say, I'm in nursing school, and someone's gonna tell me about simple nursing.
Yeah.
To like simplify all these complex chapters and lectures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But how have you found, like, is it standardized throughout? Like, is like all the nursing exams and stuff like that, like throughout the US, is it like, someone in Delaware and someone in Idaho, it's like the same thing?
Yeah, it's like the bar exam. Like any certification course or any national certification. Honestly, every first world country, because we have Canadians, we have Australians, people from UK, everyone. just taking our courses, because there's only one way to diagnose and treat heart failure or heart attack.
Yeah.
So that was easy, but the concept to get it done was kind of a little bit difficult, because a lot of people were doing it on YouTube, but only doing like really shitty versions of just like a PowerPoint. And I was like the first personality, because I failed at so many other ones. I applied that knowledge. I used to watch, do you remember Mike Chang?
No.
On YouTube?
No.
Dude, he was the man, dude, making like $4 million a year.
Okay.
And so I copied his business model, because the first 3 seconds of his YouTube was like, hey guys, I'm Mike Chan, and right now we're gonna be breaking down the 3 things you need to know about getting abs. And so I would do the same thing on nursing.
Oh, you know what? I think I have seen this video.
Dude, it's a yoked
I remember,
Asian dude.
the yoked Asian dude. He'd
like a turtleback.
He'd teach you like this is how you like do the bicep curl.
Yeah.
But what I do differently is I don't know. He'd always have
I think six-pack shortcuts. I think that's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
I remember six-pack shortcuts.
And, okay, so then, long story short, what happened was Tim Ferriss, that bastard, didn't tell me. So as I'm traveling the world, going to different countries, working online, I love Tim Ferriss, but he didn't tell me that there would be competitors. So when I started slacking off, and I'm like, I have 1,000 videos, I'm good. So I had my brother's wife doing customer service, one of my carpool buddies who used to work at CarMax selling cars, doing sales. I'm like, I'm gonna go travel the world. So I lived in Peru for 6 months and did all this stuff. 2 competitors came in, copied everything I was doing. One of them put it on just YouTube for free, and just was monetizing it that way.
Okay.
And so I'm like, how do I, and her videos were actually better than mine, because a bigger whiteboard, more colorful markers. I'm like, how the hell do I monetize like, an old like 1980s Macintosh when she has a newer version of a computer? So then I had to go back, and about 5 years ago, basically our company was losing 30% year over year for 3 years, like 3 years of losing seasons. And so about 5 years ago, I was like, got the team and got the whole family in the room and the whole team. I'm like, guys, it's been a great run as a small family business, but we're all going to be bankrupt. All of us are going to be without a job in about 18 months. So it's either we have a road to take. It's either my dad was like, dude, just save all the money and screw the business. There's no vision.
Of course.
I know. And then I'm like, no, dude, I want to help the students.
Yeah.
So at that point, I had to fire all the family and then just go corporate. And since then, we've increased 700%. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting fork in the road moment too, where it's like,
it's hard.
seeing the writing on the wall, like seeing, okay, look, the numbers are telling me that this is just not, like, we can't keep going like this, right? Mm-hmm. But when you say going corporate, so what did you really do, like, to systemize it and make it an actual, like, investable business that, is where you are today?
Dude, honestly, the biggest thing is you got to learn before you earn. And there's a really good book called The Alchemist. It's basically a story about a kid that's just following omens to find his treasure. And along the way, he just learns that the entire time, it's like remembering, like, all your training up to this point, you have to reuse that to get to your next level. And so that was like a huge mantra for me. So I just reread and re-listened to all the books. And then I hired like 4 really crappy business mentors on an app called Thumbtack.
Okay.
But they were all kind of telling me the same thing, even the books. They're like, you got to have the right team first. Then you got to have the right people. I call it 3 Ps. The right people are basically team in your company. Then you got to have the right product that you're pitching. And then you got to figure out a way to like pitch that product. So people, product, and then how to pitch it.
Beautiful. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No. So my biggest thing was, I'm like, okay, well, what if we divided the company into 2? I'm like, just like an artist, like, what if I just redid? So I had to redo 1,000 videos by myself.
That's grueling, bro.
Dude, it was horrible. Like, oh my God.
I thought I already did the thing.
Like, I know, I thought I already, and now I have to do it again. I'm like, not only do you have to do it again, but you have to invest all your life savings, which only at the time was like 150 or 200,000.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, so let's just say we do build this Ferrari. Who's going to drive that Ferrari? Because if a family member or someone that's not experienced, but they might crash the shit out of it, then you're done. So I'm like, okay, so the driver would be on the business side, and they would be in control of an acronym I made was the MBAs. So marketing, budgeting, analytics, sales, and service. And I'm like, they got to be a 5-year expert in some type of like marketing agency that with like online funnels and acquisitions. So we met a family friend. She actually was the partner of our customer service girl, and he was at a company called Gartner for like 5 years. and he was like a director of the like marketing acquisition. So it just the stars aligned. Like once you become really clear on your vision of what you need, and so that's how we got the new team. And dude, he just built out the entire business suite of like just corporate professionals. And on my side of the business, I got about 8 professors that are rewriting scripts for me, and we found an amazing animation team. And so it just like all just like dude came together. It was like a true underdog story again.
Dude, I love to hear these stories because, you know, in a small way I can relate. I feel like I'm obviously nowhere near where you are at in your journey, but you know, a few years ago, like I was working this boring 9-to-5 job in the government, hated every bit of it, and all I thought, like constantly, the mantra I kept like telling myself was like, bro, like I am like worth more than this. Like I could definitely do something more than this. But really it stemmed from like sheer laziness. I did not want to actually work really that hard. So now I've never worked harder in my life to be a lazy, you know what. So I'm just like, I can relate with that, like with the overall story of like, you know you're good at this thing, but you don't care about like dotting the T's, crossing the I's, all that stuff. Like, but you're good at this thing, and you're like, okay, let's just do it. Like, right?
And action taking is the biggest thing. They always say ideas love action. So I think that's why Elon Musk is so successful, because dude, that guy's launching so many different businesses as side projects. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, this guy's doing crazy stuff. But that's what I mean. Like, you start something as a demo. And that's how the 7th business that I thought was going to be a failure, I'm like, fine, I'll just make 5 videos.
And I think that's the difference between like a true entrepreneur and someone who, you know, is really good at like, let's say, one area of the business.
Exactly.
Like, as you know, right, you have to find those experts that you can plug into it, right? But even now, as you're sitting here, like, you have like 5, 10, I mean, probably 15 things that are like floating around your brain that excite you. And we'll definitely dive into some of those, man. But I gotta say, like with Simple Nursing, I mean, you've helped over 1 million.
Yeah, well, that's what we claim. There's probably a lot more, but
that's incredible, bro.
I know, it's honestly like, in the beginning, I'm just like, I just want to travel. I just want to make money. And then when I started going to nursing conferences, I think in the first 2 years, they wanted me to be a keynote speaker in front of like thousands of students. And so in Daytona was the biggest crowd, 2,000 students. And they were like the presidents and like the cabinet of like all these nursing schools across Florida. And dude, time after time, they'd come up to me, even professors were coming up to me and like, none of my class can get this particular topic, and you made a song about the liver that's like, instead of it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, it's like beginning to look a lot like cirrhosis. And like, you broke it down in such a way that like, you helped them out, and then so many students were like, pharmacology, I was failing that class, I was gonna have to repeat it. And some even failed it before, they're like, I was gonna fail again and be kicked out of the program entirely. And it's like, I wouldn't have become a nurse if it wasn't for you. I'm like, dude, this is incredible.
That's so wild, because then you think of the ripple effect of how many people they're gonna help.
Dude, I know.
And then like, that's just gotta feel good.
Yeah.
Like that's just like, you selfishly built this thing because you wanted to travel the world and basically fuck off and not work in a hospital, right? But then how it relates back to helping like the broader world and community is incredible.
And it's funny because a lot of podcasts talk about this, and they're like business podcasts and entrepreneurship. They're like, you're either missionary or a mercenary. So missionaries just want to help the world, and the more you help your customer, they say where friction is low, then money will flow. So the better experience you make for your customer, the more revenue and popularity you're gonna get. And then the mercenary is just like all about the bottom line, just all about, I mean, you still have to do that, but it's like you want to have the best product out there. Just put yourself in the customer's shoes. And in the beginning, I wasn't doing that. But right when I started hearing all these testimonials, dude, like it changes suddenly, because you can see the impact you're making. And honestly, that was like the pivoting moment for me. So.
You're like, oh shit, I gotta take this kind of seriously.
Yeah, I know. I can't just be like fucking off on like a whiteboard.
Can't
anymore.
use a sock anymore. Go to Office Depot and pick up that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's sweet, man. No, it's really cool to see what you've done with Simple Nursing. But what is like, you've kind of now transitioned. Now you're looking to exit.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some very interesting developments in the next few weeks, hopefully for you.
Yeah, it's wild. Out there now,
You know, we don't have to dive into that too much, but
yeah, we can touch on it though.
if you want, dive in, talk to me about what that process looks like.
Yeah, so before we even got here, a lot of like, books, they always say whatever you got you to the $1 million mark or $2 million mark is not going to be what's going to get you to the $10 million mark.
I say that all the time, man.
Dude, all the times. And the biggest thing is always team. It's team, team, team. So I was always looking for my LeBron James. That's, like the Buccaneers, right? Like they got Tom Brady, boom, Super Bowl champion.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, they had everything else. So you just need that one person that's always going to make that hugest like MVP play.
That superstar, that A+ player.
Yeah. So I found mine, and honestly, we've grown past our expectations. And so now, even my business partner, who's our CEO now, he's like, dude, like we're getting in a territory that's like, above our heads. He's like, well, I'm gonna need to hire someone above me to manage this now, because we've been doubling every year for about almost over 3 years now.
Wow,
dude.
What a story from going to declining 30% year over year to doubling.
Yeah.
Bro.
I know, so yeah.
I want to like edit in like a visual of like what that looks like on a chart. That's nuts.
Dude, for sure. So between 2015 to the 2018, we were decreasing 25 to 30%, like 3.5 years of losing seasons. And then we broke even right at 2019 when my partner came on. And then 2020, everyone was being pushed online. And it was the, dude, again, perfect intersection between all these students being pushed online because of COVID and us having the brand new videos, animated videos, that none of our competitors had. And then boom, 300% increase that year.
It was just, the solution was just ready to go.
Dude, but it was so
COVID
intense.
Was perfect storm, yeah.
But it was like you're in an airplane that's like going toward you're skimming the trees and you're going toward the mountains and you're about to crash and your whole life savings on it. And then all of a sudden like, like, oh shit.
That's the thing, like I want people to take away from this as well, is like, look, this is a great success story, and it's I think just the beginning for you. I think you're gonna build even crazier, wilder shit over the years, man. But you gotta have the stomach for it, bro. Like not everyone is meant to be a true entrepreneur. Like there's like nights, there's been, I'll be candid with you, like even within the last 3 weeks, Jamie, myself, and Siraj have had to like war room out some like ridiculous situations where like Siraj, my cousin, works for me full time, my brother works for me full time. I very much like to not just keep it in the family, but my friends and good people kind of going counter to like all the advice you hear out there. But I'm like, we can't fail, right? And it's not like we were gonna fail, but it's just sometimes we've got like 15 commitments, but to start in like October, or like, and it's like, but like the Amex bill's due now. So it's like there's just certain things that we had to like kind of war room out and like do some alchemy, do some wild stuff. But like I know a lot of people in our position who just would have folded. It's just like you have all these different things that you got to pay off. Money's not coming in the way it usually does. Slow summer. We're learning about seasonality in business and stuff as well. And it's like, oh shit, like we gotta like think like back against the wall. What are we gonna do to like? It's not just for us. Like, how do we feed our team of like 20 people? Like, we gotta like make sure that they're eating.
The payroll's taken care of.
So those kind of back against the wall moments. Not to like compare it, but it's but it's true. It's like I can resonate with the plane skimming the trees and then being able to take flight again and get, like refuel mid-flight type thing, right? And it takes a certain type of person to like be like, no, like I want to do that again. Let's do that again. And next time I'm even more prepped for that. Like, let's fucking do it again, but in a bigger plane. Let's add a couple more engines to this bitch and like, fuck it, let's do even more. So it's
an adrenaline rush, really.
It's cool to hear, man.
No, but there was like I think every entrepreneur has those stories. Man, there was a really good podcast of this guy that like, it was on his like last leg, and he had to take all his investments out of his like, I think his IRA, his 401k, to invest back into the business. But I think like a lot of people would agree. I think it was Grant Cardone that was saying like in your 20s, you want to take the most amount of risk possible, and that's where you basically learn before you earn. And there was even a summer when we were going down and like skimming the trees, and we finally like reformatted and got the new team. Dude, me and my business partner in August, because we have our seasonality in the summer, we had to split $90 because that was our net profit in August. It's like, okay, you take 45 and I'll take 45. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sometimes it comes down to that, but I like that, learn before you earn thing, because that's very much a core philosophy of like what Jamie and I got, right, is this whole podcast came from kind of that philosophy of look, like I'm getting paid right now to like talk to someone who's doing what I want to do. That's cheating. I'm genuinely cheating the game. I'm getting paid to form relationships with badass people, to learn from them, and to you're gonna help me reach my goals in ways that we haven't even realized yet. Like we don't even know what's gonna come out of this, and you start to compound that across multiple relationships, across multiple business ventures and stuff. There's no way we lose in our 20s by taking risks.
No, not at all.
Like just put that content out there. This is the same way where you put some YouTube videos out. You're like, you know what? I don't care the quality of these or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna put these 5 out. That was me. Like I lived in like an attic apartment. I was paying like $600 a month for rent from this dude, cash under the table. I had moved out of my parents' house. Which was a big deal for like an Indian family, and I moved out in the same city. So they were not fucking with that. They were like, "What do you like? That makes
the fuck are you doing?
That makes no sense. You stay with us, save the money." I'm like, no, I need to do this, and that decision led me to starting the podcast while I had my 9 to 5, while I hated that shit, and that podcast has become this thing, which I see even evolving and growing. Like, I don't even focus on it that much, but that led to me meeting Jamie, me meeting most of our first clients. All of it came from just being like, fuck it, let's do it. Put it out there. Stop caring so much about what people think or how I'm perceived or, oh my God, what if a potential employer sees this and sees me drinking Henny and fucking off of my voice on a podcast? But now it's become this thing and I can just so resonate with take that leap, just do it anyways, forget it. You'll see what happens. Or just be completely okay with accepting a more mediocre life. That's fine too. If that's what you want. If you're you enable a lot of people to become nurses, which no offense, I will say this out there. It seems like my mom's in the healthcare field. So I've seen it my whole life. She works with elderly patients and stuff, and I've just seen it my whole life. The hours they have to work,
the grind and the toll
for on their feet, lifting other humans, cleaning
their ass,
shit, and 12-hour shifts, 4 of those in a row, and then you get a couple days off to recover. That to me is not a good life. I don't care how much you pay me, and sure, some of them get paid well, but I don't think they get paid enough for what they do, bro. So but if that's the route you want to go for whatever reason, okay, do that. Not for me.
I know,
fuck that.
most regular corporate jobs and stuff, it just sounds like a prison sentence, right? It's 20 to 30 years to life, and it's but
then you get a pension though.
But your income's capped,
Seriously,
it's you can actually calculate how much you would make over the course of your life. Where with business, it's sure, it might be skimming the trees some days, but there's that potential of just that upswing.
I want to kind of switch gears on the podcast now a little bit to the biohacking. This is something that I know you're extremely passionate about, and you've made kind of this next frontier of what you're doing. It's so central to that. How'd you get into it, man? How'd you get into this world of biohacking to begin with?
Yes, for sure. So the first thing was I put a suppository up my butt. No, I'm just kidding. So I was in... It was 18. No, actually, okay, so all the way back, my parents my dad was always into protein. He was a police officer. My mom was a school teacher, but they would always go to the gym in the morning before they went to work. So at 5, 6 a.m. And then they were always doing healthy foods. They never let us eat sweets. But it wasn't until I started getting into football, I gained 60 pounds in 18 months. My dad was having me on protein shakes and just working out. And I started like really getting into kind of the science behind it. Then I started working on the ambulance, and then really got into like the science of the body, and then became a personal trainer. And I just love teaching people. And then I started becoming a nurse, and then really just understanding the molecular level of like how things happen in the body. And then I'm just like, dabbling with stuff. But my brother, he's a firefighter, and he listens to all the podcasts from like, Ben Greenfield, Dr. Dr. Huberman, everyone. And he's like always sharing me with things. And so I think honestly, he was the one that kind of pushed me over the tipping point about 3 years ago. I really started getting serious. And I was also like, you know what? I'm 30. It was 34 at the time, and I'm like, I'm gonna be 35. And I'm like, dude, this is when like a lot of your hormones drop off, which I already knew from nursing. And this is where like, it's kind of make or break. Like whatever you do now, it's gonna sustain you for your future. So my biggest thing was like, mind, body, spirit. And I already got the money thing figured out from the business. And I'm like, well, if I exit and we sell the company for like, over 75 or 100 million, like I'll never have to work again. So like the only thing, like the money won't run out because I'm not going to buy yachts or jets. The only thing that's going to really kill me is just my quality of life is just my body. I'm stuck in this body. So I'm like, okay, kind of like what Brian Johnson's doing with, spending $2 million a year on biohacking to reverse his age. I was kind of doing that kind of mindset. So then I started looking into NAD patches, which actually repair your DNA and reverse your biological age, and then glutathione, which detoxifies your body. And it started with those two things. And I'm like, dude, my energy levels just increased. I used to actually smoke cigarettes in the ER. That's the only way to get a break, by the way, after a 12-hour shift. So all the Filipinos, like I used to chew tobacco. And they got me into smoking cigarettes because you can take a break anytime you want it.
Yes, it was the same thing in my government job.
Really?
Man. Yeah. Like everyone would get like unlimited smoke breaks throughout the day. Well, you gotta smoke, but it's like, but I don't smoke. Like, so why don't I get all those fucking breaks, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, that's funny.
But that's what I mean. So then I was like, okay. But here was the crazy part. So I started doing the patches of NAD, and so NAD not only repairs your DNA, but it's first found in the 50s to treat addiction.
Okay.
So I was like, not only did I have this much energy, I was getting way more organized, being way more productive at work. My brain was like lit on fire. My workouts were crazy. I felt like in my 20s again. And I just quit smoking. I was like, whoa, I didn't have an urge to do it anymore. And I'm like, whoa. And I think that's propelled me into like way more learning, because I'm like, if I can feel this way, what happens if I can feel this way? And so then I just started just nerding out on the science. And so now I'm doing 100 pills a day for 90 days and just trying so many different cocktails out.
Yeah.
And then we bought about 10 acres in Austin, Texas. And so what we want to do is create the first Airbnb tiny home experience that is a biohacker's paradise. So imagine you wake up in the morning and there's a QR code of showing you how to get your morning day started. So every station, like 5 stations, we call it a 5-star day, would have basically 60-second wrap-ups of videos. And so to show you what sunlight does in the morning, what salt water does in the morning, then you go to your gym, show you the best kind of workouts, mobility work, cold plunge, sauna, and then how to meditate.
Dude.
I know, it's like everything in one, but also like educating everyone. So if no one had a knowledge of like what everyone's doing, from Dr. Huberman to everyone else, you can actually go for a weekend and then get all that knowledge.
All right, bro. We're taking this podcast in a different direction because I'm so fired up by this because, look, I told you I'm selfish. So I'm doing this for me. Y'all can...
Yeah. All right. We're going to go over here.
Yeah, No, but I've been very much thinking a lot lately because I've been ramping up my training a lot. I've been training like kind of boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, that type of stuff. And I've been wanting to... I want to prep for my first fight.
Okay.
And so there's some things I do in my lifestyle I feel like that definitely don't help with that, right? And so I was actually talking to my trainer who's a professional fighter himself in Bellator and whatnot. And I had a meeting with him yesterday, and I just kind of asked him for this meeting. I was like, bro, I want to like do a little bit more lifestyle design. Like I need to look at like everything that I'm doing. I feel like I'm performing like at a level like I've never performed at for my business.
Yeah.
That's cool. Relationships, cool. This, like, one area I feel like fitness is cool. I have no problem lifting, working out, that type of stuff's fine. But like for me, it comes down to the nutrition and recovery. Those two things I absolutely am dog shit at.
Really?
I just don't like. I like to drink.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's
I,
okay.
I like to smoke. I like to drink. I like to kind of get loose after
Hell
a long
yeah.
day. Like you know,
Gang.
I'm in my 20s. I'm
do
like,
it.
if I'm not,
Yeah.
if I don't do it, like
Yeah, now when are you gonna do
what
it?
the
You're not
fuck?
getting any younger.
Exactly, which is a scary logic, you know. And I'm a big
That's what I
guy.
always thought.
I'm a big guy, and I drink like a fish. And like honestly,
yeah.
it's like I feel like not a problem.
Yeah.
However, I know that alcohol is obviously very damaging to the body and stuff, right? But between the alcohol, the you know, poor nutritional choices, and how that affects my sleep,
Yeah, the sleep, yeah.
I think that compounds in me not realizing my potential, which to me is like the main focus, like my purpose, my why in life is I want to realize my potential. Like if I can be here, but I'm operating here, like I'm not being true to myself of like what this is all about. So very selfishly, I wanna ask like what would like how would you personalize like an approach for someone like myself if I come into a community like this?
Yeah.
And give me that prescription for like the things to do,
Yeah.
right? How does that all work?
So, dude, so many practitioners. There's even a place here in Miami that's like, my buddy just joined it. It was like 40 grand for the year, and he paid it to get everything's inclusive, but just like lists and lists. Like, I'm like, dude, no, like you got to start with the knockout punches first. So start with the atomic bombs. A lot of practitioners just want to do like a lot of pea shooters and BB guns, and it's like, dude, that's just way too much.
Take this magnesium pill, do this,
do
that.
all these like little bullshit things. I'm like, no, dude, like. The first thing is getting real clear on what does your end goal look like. And so Tony Robbins always talks about this. It's like, what does it look like to be successful or to make it? And so what does that look like? And then you just go backwards or reverse it.
For me, I want to be like 225.
Okay.
I want to be way lower body fat percentage. I want to move well, and I want to be back to my like athlete ways.
Okay.
I feel like I'm sedentary with my day job, of just sitting and taking calls and doing that sort of thing. But I'm very active outside of that. I walk everywhere. I lift. I train. I even sprints and that type of stuff. But when it comes to like doing anything mobility related, I feel stiff, bro. My whole body. I've had surgeries. I'm like, even from my football days, I'm just like, everything hurts. I'm too young for everything to fucking hurt this much, right? So I think mobility, the nutrition, and like rest.
So the number one thing you can do for yourself right now, we've already talked about this, but it was as peptides. So peptides is like Wolverine healing. Not only does, but there's so where do I start? Peptides are basically just amino acids, which are found in protein, like branched chain amino acids. You can even put in your protein shake. But they're injectable forms that actually encourage your body to do what it naturally does. So there's actually peptides in our bodies all the time. When you inject peptides, it basically can encourage your body to regenerate itself. So there's peptides for every part of the body. There's one for the joints, one for the heart, one for the gut microbiome, even for the brain, even for deep sleep. The ones that I'm really fascinated about for the past 2 years that I've taken have been the ones for muscle growth and fat loss. And they also they reset your circadian rhythm as well as increase your human growth hormone to basically get you have deeper sleep and better recovery. That's the number one knockout blow you can do right now, other than like stem cells. But honestly, I feel I've done stem cells. I got 300 million done in Cayman Islands. Like that was like 20 grand. And then I've done about 6 routes of peptides, and you see my results. But that is the number one thing. When it comes down to like the long-term plan, the longevity, it's like, okay, so sleep and fasting is like number one. It's like a base of a pyramid. You still need to get that done. But dude, when I was on peptides, man, I got down, I think I shed like 15% body fat. Wow. I was still drinking 4 days a week. Wow. I was still eating like shit mostly. I was fasting until
music
like,
to my ears.
This is the worst. These are the cheat codes. But so the reason no one's talking about this, because the only one peptide that is FDA approved is called semaglutide. The problem with semaglutide is the increased nausea, so you feel just like always nauseous or have stomach aches. increase gas and cramping. And then also if you have a history of depression, it can also increase your suicide risk. So depression runs in my side of the family. I was only to be on it for 2 weeks. And I was just like way too like low energy, bad mood. And I had like just like bubble guts. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do it. So if there's two that I already sent you the link, it was ipamorelin as well as AOD.
Okay.
And you take AOD for 20 days, you just inject it like you're like a type 1 diabetic into your butt or your stomach. And dude, like it pockets, like the deep visceral fat, it just like shrinks that down. Like I gained weight in my face when I gained weight. And I've had family members saying like, dude, do you lose weight? I'm like, I can't even see it. They're like, yeah, your face looks like more chiseled. And I was like,
that's always what happens
in.
for me as well.
Yeah.
Like the first place I feel it, like things like sucking in, is in the face.
Yeah.
When I'm losing weight, but the last place is like the actual like stomach area.
Yeah. So I mean, like honestly, if I was your practitioner, I'd be like, well, let me take a look at your diet. I don't know what you're eating, but like I was like, if you're not eating fast food and like junk all day, just like don't even focus on your diet too much. You can still drink, but maybe like limit it to like 2 or 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And then just get on the peptides for 2 cycles, which would be 4 months total.
Yep.
So 10-week cycles. And then, dude, you'll probably have 35, 40 pound loss.
That's
Just get
incredible.
sucked in like Wolverine, just like, yeah.
That's really interesting. This is not medical advice, by the way.
This is not medical advice. This is not FDA approved. Click our link in the bio to order. No, but
No, that's really cool, man. So let's say
Okay.
yeah, for the
and you'll get better sleep too.
okay, that's
So if there was like
cornerstone, that's a pillar. That's
if there was like 3 things you can do, number 1 would be peptides. Number 2 is just focus on your macros. So all you're going to be focusing on is getting like, let's say, how much do you weigh right now for in pounds?
I'm like 275.
Okay, so get like 250 grams of protein a day.
Oh my god.
That's a lot.
That's an insane amount of protein.
That's a lot. But I mean, you can probably get to 200 grams. But I mean, you can probably eat a lot too.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
And then another thing, if you're getting too hungry, do you feel like you're hungry a lot?
Yeah, because
really hungry?
I'm training so much, and then I get like I get extremely hungry often.
Okay, so in order to combat the hunger is something called Keto Aid that I swear by.
Okay.
It gives you instant mental clarity. It drops you into ketosis, so you actually start burning fat as fuel. You can take it. I take a capful in the morning, and then like whenever I'm hungry in the day before I eat. And dude, it satiates your hunger. It burns fat, gives you clean mental energy to work. And it's about like $100 with 3 bottles that'll last you probably like the month.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm
I'll send that to you right now.
100%.
Yeah, on Amazon. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm legitimately buying that right after this pod.
Yeah.
Okay, well, bringing it back then. So, if I wanted to come to this tiny home community in Texas, and so how does it work though? Would I be matched up with a practitioner who's doing all this? You said there's a QR code. Like, walk me through the model. How does it work?
Okay, so the vision, the long-term vision is, we're gonna have hopefully like a chef on site. We're gonna do events like not only for the body, we'll do like sound bowl healings, meditation, probably some psilocybin journeys.
Nice.
Hopefully have Joe Rogan and even Tim Ferriss that are in town because they live in Austin, and just basically make it the first of its kind. What I would love for it to happen is that we make the business model of like, hey, this is like a biohackers community, so that other people would take that idea and copy us. Because I'd love to start that flywheel, just like, that'd be amazing if every city had one of these. That'd be crazy. But okay, so the concept right now is to go in phases. So we're gonna start with probably like 3 or 4, maybe 5 different tiny homes. And then it'll be an all self-guided journey. So just like a normal Airbnb, you show up, you check in by yourself, and then everything's set up in such a way that, let's say your bedroom, you scan the QR code at night, because we always say magic starts at night. So it'll show you how to get the perfect sleep. And so what to do, like turning off your phones and any blue light an hour or 2 hours before your bed, what temperature your room should be at, blackout curtains, mouth strips for nasal breathing, which actually increases nitric oxide, which vasodilates you, gets you really deep sleep. And then in the morning, Dr. Huberman's routine, because there's 5 different experts and clinicians that we're looking at to bring all this information together. The problem right now is that there's too much so much shit, bro.
That's my problem, man.
There's like 5 podcasts. I'm sorry, there's 2-hour podcasts, like 50 of them, And you have to sift through all that information to consolidate and strain down into a routine.
Oh my God, it's like a full-time job.
It
just
is.
like keeping up with
It
like,
pisses me
do I
off.
fast?
Yeah.
Do I not?
Yeah,
Keto?
yeah.
Carnivore?
Yeah.
Should I be on?
How do I start my day?
like-
Do I do this? Do I do that?
Yeah, I'm just like inundated with just too many different directions, and
Yeah.
then like you don't pick one and just start because you're like, well, maybe it's the wrong one. So share with me the morning.
So that's why we're consolidating it. So for example, the morning, I love Dr. Huberman's morning routine. So he says, first thing in the morning, well, I'm actually combining him with Ben Greenfield. First thing in the morning you do is, your goal is to be in sunlight in the first 30 minutes to an hour. So that's kind of your ticker. So what I do is I put my phone on airplane mode, put an hour timer or 45 minutes, and I'm not going on my phone, not checking Instagram, no messages, no emails for 45 minutes. First thing you do is go to the bathroom and you scrape your tongue for about 20 scrubs. And it's not for bacteria, it's not for like oil pulling. I mean, that's helpful, but I don't really do that. It's to activate your GI system.
Okay.
So the faster you get your GI system going, it's better for your overall gut health, which is your second brain. So if you turn on your gut, you turn on your brain. And oral health is directly correlated to brain health from Dr. Amen. He's done over 30,000 brain scans. He's like the leading like expert. So anyways, you do that to activate your gut. Then you go get what I call rainwater, or it's not rainwater, but it's basically lemon juice with a tablespoon of salt, or a teaspoon of salt, not a tablespoon, about the size of your thumb in salt. Pour that in, Dr. Huberman.
What type of salt? Are we talking Himalayan, Celtic, or whatever?
It's weird. Like I don't know if Dr. Huberman has really specified.
Because I do the lemon water every morning, but I do like warm
that's perfect,
warm lemon water.
Warm lemon water, but just add some Himalayan sea salt.
Yeah. I do that too, yeah. I put some Himalayan.
Yeah,
mix
swirl it
up.
around.
Yep.
So there's two reasons. Number one is the salt will actually help the brain activate and basically get balanced because electrolytes are so valuable in the body. I always say in my nursing videos, sodium helps the body swell. Now you don't want the body to swell, but it basically attracts water. And so the reason that we want to do that is because water, you just pee it right out and you don't really absorb a lot of it.
Right.
So when you do it with the salt, you retain a lot of it. The lemon actually goes right into your GI. And what the lemon does is actually it pulls out a lot of the cholesterol that was just hanging around your body. And so you just flush it out of your body. And I think that's one of the best ones. I think it has something to do with the gallbladder, who actually stores a lot of the excess cholesterol in your body. But and it also puts your body into alkalinity, where cancer and a lot of diseases can't live. So, dude, it's amazing. And then.
But I follow it with a coffee though.
No, it's perfect. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's fine to have a coffee as well, kind of after that. Is there
Dude,
a time
don't even get
period?
me on coffee. There's a great one on the okay.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. So I used to do black coffee all the time. And then I started hearing about bulletproof coffee, adding MCT oil, adding THC oil, adding CBD. No, I'm just kidding.
That's how you start your
No.
day. Mike.
Okay, Daddy. No. So what you do is, so in your coffee, right? I started following Brian Johnson, who does something called the Morning Giant, or the Green Giant in the morning. So apparently, studies are showing that cacao, or basically highly concentrated dark chocolate, if you take enough of it, can actually double your stem cell count in a month. So your body already naturally has stem cells that does healing properties. It activates so many longevity genes. It'll make you feel probably way younger. And dude, everything gets better. Your joints, your muscles, and even your gut. And when you actually optimize your gut health, you actually metabolize fat and metabolize food better. So you don't feel like shit all the time. And then your brain fog will go away as well. So the coffee, the main ones that I love to put in your coffee is MCT oil, because your brain's like an engine. It'll get lubed up and just fire at all cylinders. It's amazing. Then what I do is put lion's mane in it.
Okay.
Do you have some lion's mane?
I don't have it, but I've heard so many many things about it.
Yes.
Okay.
So lion's mane, if you really want to be productive and actually get a lot of stuff done and be very efficient, MCT oil and lion's mane, the brand on Amazon that I love is OM brand. And I've tried multiple different brands. OM is the best. I don't know why. It seems like everyone uses the same sources, but for some reason that brand has always just like fired me up. And I don't have an affiliate link, but the link's in the bio. No, I'm sorry. But yeah. And then what you do is put cocoa flavonoids inside of your drink.
What is that?
Cacao flavonoids are the ones that double your stem cells.
Okay.
And there was something else that I can't remember. But those are the top things that you have to put in there.
Okay.
And that's just going to get your day started. If you're a student, if you're a business owner, whatever you want to do, just get productive.
Yeah.
Then what you do is I go out on my balcony and I get some sunlight for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, because that's what I want to do as well. Because this side here, this balcony has so much sun in the morning, and I always go out and just naturally just sometimes take my shirt off and just like absorb it.
Damn,
It's so nice to just like I mean it's bro.
You don't have to do the butthole tanning for your neighbors.
I mean, dude, I got the balls out. Just
Okay.
put them, I got to sun your balls, bro. Isn't that was my next question now.
Yeah.
No, but
You have to watch your neighbors below. Sorry, guys.
to give them a show.
No, so that's like I think those are the main priorities. Now, the other thing that 10X Health Systems, which told Dana White he has 10 years to live, they always say
Brecca, right?
Yeah. They always say to do grounding, or basically get a grounding mat.
Right.
Oxygen, magnetism, light. But that can be incorporated later. If you just wake up and do the tongue scraping to activate the GI, get the lemon water with the salt, activate the brain and the gut at the same time, and then get your coffee and just get in sunlight, boom, you have it all.
Yeah. A question about the bulletproof coffee thing that you're talking about. Are you then not fasting?
That is the best question. So, and it's funny because this is always the problem with nutrition. If you like Google like, are bananas good for you, right? It's like, well, yes for potassium, but no because it's going to spike your blood sugar. So same thing with MCT oil. MCT oil has 130 calories in it. Now, Dr. Rhonda Patrick from Found My Fitness, she was featured on Joe Rogan.
I love her.
Dude, she's amazing.
I obsess. I always listen to her podcast.
I know. And she's actually pretty cute, too. If you're watching. No, I'm just kidding. I think she just had a baby. And,
Dr. Patrick, I mean.
Yeah. No, she's married, I think. Yeah. But if you have a sister. No, I'm just kidding. So she's saying that anything less than 50 calories, your body can still stay in a fasted state. But for me, at least, I'm like, I just want to burn fat. I can do fasting a lot of the other times, or basically do a lot of other longevity things. But I'm like, you know what? I'll put some MCT oil in my coffee and just do kind of like a fat fast.
It's like looking at it all holistically as like, look, this has more benefit to do this than to just have my coffee stay in a fasted state just to stay in a fasted state. Like there's more benefit of the MCT oil, lion's mane, and the cocoa flavonoids.
Yeah. All right, so I actually had some of this on me. Now, not this particular brand, but cacao powder. The problem with this brand is that it should actually put the details of how much is in it. You're trying to go for about 500 is what Brian Johnson's saying. The guy who's spending $2 million a year on his health. And I don't see it on here. So I just bought this as an impulse buy on Amazon. It's actually pretty good though.
Cool.
And then the other one that I forgot to mention is Colostrum. So this is not a brand that I necessarily support, but you can get stuff on Amazon and just look at the reviews. But this one has about 2,000 milligrams. So dude, colostrum is amazing for your gut health and microbiome. So the second brain, the better your gut health is, the better really everything in your body is. Your brain health, cardiovascular, and the way you metabolize fat and food. So you can just do it all in your coffee. But the other thing too is like, if your main goal is to lose weight and look great and look shredded, then do MCT oil. It's going to be amazing for doing all those things, burning fat and being productive.
Yeah.
But if your main goal is to turn on longevity markers like sirtuins and reverse your biological age, like let's just say you're 50 or 60, then probably that's your main goal. And let's just say you already look ripped, then just go without the MCT oil and just do that later in the day.
Got it.
Yeah, because you want to be at about 16-hour fast if that's your goal for longevity.
Right. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and that's a good point as well, is that with all this biohacking stuff, you should look at it as like, what are my immediate goals? Like, what am I trying to achieve now? Yeah.
Yeah, what's your main goal? And that's why I asked you. It's like, what's your main goal? And you're like, oh, I want to be able to like eat moderately good, still drink, but also look like amazing. And so I'm like, dude, peptides. That's the number. That's your atomic bomb.
I like this prescription
Bam, that's
a lot. I'm fired up. I'll share my before and after.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I'm excited.
Yeah, I want to make and so that's why I'm working with the Deep Social brand and just doing a crap ton of content, because the next goal is to just create an audience for longevity.
Yep.
So that we can talk about, the tiny home experiences. We can even do a supplement line, just putting all the things in that coffee blend in one, and then also start a peptide company. That would be amazing.
Yeah, man. And making it all under one umbrella for like optimal human performance and living and longevity and all the things. That's a cool mission, bro. I'm excited to see kind of like the beginning of it forming.
I know, like the best part of it all is like I already made my money, right? So it's like I don't have to charge exorbitant amounts. I can almost just skim as much as I can to cost, almost like as a nonprofit. So that's my mission now.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
man.
It's gonna be cool.
So I'm excited to see what happens with kind of the tiny home community, where all this biohacking takes you.
I know.
I mean, over the years, it's gonna be cool to see.
It's gonna be wild.
Your own body as well, and your mind, and how this transforms. And bro, I feel like I'm gonna have you on the pod a lot.
Hell
like
yeah.
we're gonna fucking do a lot more of these as well, and kind of follow up. But just to kind of like slowly wrap this one up, I want to kind of talk about like, next steps for you personally.
Yeah.
What, outside of just this stuff, are you super excited about and you want to share? Because I know you're involved in much more than what we just spoke about today.
So it's like, for me, it's always like, I just love simple lists. So for me, it's always mind, body, and spirit, and then obviously the money. So I already got the money thing figured out. We're selling the company over... we're going to get over that $100 million valuation. For the body, we just talked about, we can talk for so long about all the other stuff. But I'm going to be doing stem cells, which I'm super passionate about, because that's just like restoring an old car. If you keep on swapping out parts in your body, you can just basically have a classic car that just runs optimally.
Yeah.
But dude, the mind, honestly, I feel like is number one over money, over the body, because the mind dictates everything.
Yeah.
And so... just doing so many different things. I think the number one thing you could do is psychedelics like psilocybin, which Dr. Huberman from Stanford is funding huge amounts of studies. Dude, I've just seen so many just very subtle shifts, but it's like an airplane. Like if you shift the coordinates by 3 degrees, you're at a totally different destination. And I've seen me forgive people. I've seen some of my friends get over grudges and resentments and just become a totally...
Do you microdose? Is that
No,
what you
so
do?
like I followed Dr. Huberman's suggestion, and even in the book, How to Change Your Mind, now it's a Netflix series. So they do 2 grams of psilocybin at Johns Hopkins University, but instead of going on an outward journey, which I just abused the drug in my 20s and just go to festivals, you go on an internal journey. So you put an eye mask on and just put some music on, and then it's crazy how the psilocybin will actually fix your brain. Whoa. Dude, it's wild. Like you do an internal journey, and everyone doing external journeys are doing it wrong.
Wow, that's so crazy, because everyone talks about I've done shrooms many times.
Yeah, me too.
And I do the external
everyone does, dude.
journey, right? I'm like, let's take some shrooms and I like to be out in nature.
Let's
and
go
stuff.
vibe out.
Yeah. But it's always a good time. But seeing how people are using it almost like clinically to completely change their lives, that's really interesting. It's like you could take that like to an extreme too, though, and like do it in a float tank.
Dude, that's what Joe Rogan does. Yeah. So I've done a lot of stuff for my mind. So I was in a float tank for 40 hours within 1 month. I would.
Like, bro.
We only talked about the body and the business.
Seriously. Yeah. Okay.
So I did 2 hours a day for 5 days a week for almost 30 days.
Okay.
The craziest part is, never did acid at the time. Halfway through that experience, when I did do acid a year later, it felt exactly the same. So I was in such a meditative state, because every hour you spend in a float tank or a sensory deprivation tank, you're basically floating in silence, in darkness, in a pod on 2,000 pounds of Epsom salt. And dude, you're just disconnected. So every hour you spend in there counts as double in terms of intense meditation. So right around the 25-hour mark is what the Dalai Lama says. It's like 50 hours of regular meditation is at the threshold of mental clarity. So right about there, I felt like what Eckhart Tolle says as like being the silent observer of your own life. Dude, it felt like I was a video game character. And things that would happen to me felt like it was happening to you or like someone that was like a video game person. So like I would see
You really
myself.
stepped out of
Dude, yeah.
yourself.
I didn't actually see myself or have any visuals, but you know the feeling that you get is like you can actually pull back from a situation.
Right.
And you're just like looking at someone. So like one of the most classic examples is like there was a huge car accident right in front of me. And it was weird. It felt like it didn't even happen. Like it was just like before I'll be like, oh shoot, damn. But it was just like, all right. And just like going around it. It was weird, dude. And then like things that used to stress me out, it would just been like, oh, it's not really my problem. It's probably someone else's, but it's okay.
It's like being able to disconnect from that. And so
And-
do you meditate daily?
I'm the worst at it, dude. I'm the worst. I don't. So that's why I do these loading doses. And so I do like
It
every 6
forces
months.
you to meditate, like when you're. I love the float tank, but I've only done it twice in my life.
Oh, yeah.
And like it's just like finding the time for all these things.
Well, I want to put a float tank on the farm site.
That'd be.
Dude, I know the red lights, the float tank. But okay, so to do the float tank right, you have to commit, and no one's really talking about this. It's weird. You have to do at least 25 hours in a month session, and then, dude, you'll feel like life changing. And if you do psilocybin on top of that, that might be just even more mind
Oh
blowing.
my god.
Yeah.
Bro, this is like you're
Just stacking it.
I'm like excited about
getting
this stuff, but
peptides.
also a little scared. Because it's like I feel like once I open this biohacking door,
Dude, yeah.
there's no going back.
There isn't, no.
Because I know I'm
You're
going to feel so amazing. I'm going to look so
Yeah.
amazing. I'm going to be
Yeah.
like more just amazing in every way, right? So I'm excited though for this journey, man. I've
Yeah.
always kind of like trolled my biohacker buddies a little bit.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
some very good friends who, are obsessed with this stuff, right?
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
just like, look, bro. I'm going to have the burger.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Yeah, do it, yeah.
I'm gonna get lit tonight.
Yeah, get litty titty committee right here. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I'm gonna hit the hookah and
yeah.
everything's gonna be all right. I'll worry about being a yogi monk, in my 40s or something like that. But no, this stuff excites me. It's really fun, man.
Dude, yeah, just focus on the priorities. That's why you should only be doing one thing. That's your atomic bomb.
Yeah.
Don't major in the minors, which so many people do.
Yeah.
So have the burger, have the fries, go out and drink. But if you're just doing that one thing right, eventually everything else will align.
Exactly, because you'll learn that those things you don't even really, they
Yeah.
don't even make you feel that good anyway. And so you start to kind of, I've gone on paths and time periods where I've just gone completely sober of anything. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm not like completely dependent on this thing. I just like to have fun. And you learn a lot about yourself throughout those things, but that's kind of like what I'll leave this with. Like let's like kind of to wrap it up. Like final point here is like, what are the biggest things in this biohacking journey? Because I know, bro, we could dive into each
so
one of
many
those
things, yeah.
100 supplements that you're
Yeah,
taking and all
yeah,
these
yeah.
things, right? But what are like the biggest things that
The biggest needle pushers.
that you've personally learned or taken away from your journey
Yeah.
in the last few years of biohacking and stuff?
Yeah, the biggest things that like, I guess, push the needle, right, for me is, dude, once you get more energy, everything else is so much simpler. So for anyone like in their 30s, or even if you have fatigue, or just let's say you party too hard in your 20s, I don't know. For me, at least, what got me started was the NAD, a patch, and you can get it on Ageless RX. I don't have any affiliate codes or anything. Really good company, but man, that just changed everything for me. And if there's 4 things you can do, for me at least. NAD, glutathione patches, which just detoxifies your body, and then the peptides, dude, I love, and then stem cells if you really want to just like live to like probably 140, 150.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
bro.
And then you can do things like fasting and stuff. But honestly, once you get the energy levels there, and once you do one thing right, the dominoes will fall in your favor. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Is there anything you want to leave the viewers with? Obviously, we can't cover everything today, but before our next podcast, where we'll dive a little bit deeper into those individual things, what do you want to leave people with? What message do you want to share?
Yeah, I think the biggest message is just remember where your focus goes, your energy flows. And I'm not sure if you can attract stuff with the law of attraction, but your mind is a master problem solver. So wherever you focus on, you're going to see more of that stuff. So one of the biggest hacks that I do that I've learned from a friend is that you can just simply take your phone and just change your lock screen, because you see that every single day. So whatever's on your lock screen, you're likely to manifest it. So one of my friends who's a realtor, she actually did that after she broke up with someone, just took a random building picture. A year later, she made her highest sale ever of selling a property, $1 million in Miami over here, and it was the same exact photo. Wow. So focus goes, energy flows.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
I could not agree more. What a beautiful message, man. Thank you so much for coming on. It's not that deep, brother.
Yeah.
Shout out your socials and where people can find you.
Yeah, you can find my main company at simplenursing.com and just everywhere on social. And then my new handle, or basically my personal, is mike.linares, Linares. And we're going to bring so much more content for longevity and stuff.
My brother, appreciate you. Thank you. And just remember, it's not that deep.
Gang, gang. Dude, that was good shit.
That was so fun.
I know, man.
That was really good.